How's it going, everyone? This is your boy Harley, and welcome back to another video of Harley Pine. So, I'm just gonna go ahead right into it, and I just want to speak based on from what I posted on my Instagram videos to where some people don't have a social media username of Instagram to be able to access my videos. So, I'll just give you some ideas of videos that I have posted. So, and I'll remind you from my introduction video in the previous video, I did post based on for every one of my viewers based on if you've seen it or not or if you've given your input or not. It's these are real life scenarios I've been put in to where my opinion was asked on situations I was put in and an understanding to where the different approach that I took in this case too. And reason being I do these videos is solely because I want people to make sure that they don't get asserted or inserted in the same position that I don't get put in. Meaning that if they're put in a situation to where they don't feel comfortable with it, go with your gut feeling. And that's what I preach to every one of you. So, from one of my videos, and I'm going to speak solely based on earlier this year. I'll actually, you know what? I might as well use one of the topics. I'm actually gonna go by the videos I've used from my Instagram page and insert it in this channel, so that way everybody can be able to see. So if you are watching this video right now, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm gonna get right into it. So earlier this year, before COVID became what it is today, I was at a club. I was in downtown Fort Lauderdale, near where I live, and I rep Fort Lauderdale. So, I just want to speak solely on that. When I was in downtown Fort Lauderdale, I was going out, and I do go out when it's safe to go out by myself, just so I can be able to have more fun to be able to enjoy. You don't want to have that one person that has a different aspect on how to get women that will kill your vibe, and then all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, you're just like that guy. You want to be able to escape stuff like that. From my encounter, sometimes you might have a great time with your boy or your friends. Sometimes you like doing it by yourself. It's all depends on you. So there was this one. There was like these group of three girls, and one of them I had a close attachment with. As we started to get to know each other. Well, this was before we got to know each other. I danced with her friend. Let's just say she was doing the little bouncy bounce with the little twerk. She was like, no, no, stop. So as this was going on, like I decided to make my move on her friend. All of a sudden, the girl that I had attachment with, I'm not gonna make any names for safety reasons, so that way she can't say I try to publicize her, or anyone in the video I'm about to speak upon. Dance on her, and then all of a sudden, this very beautiful, I think it's Haitian slash Dominican mix started to make a move and start kissing on me and all that stuff too. I was like, damn, I really get it like that. Really, yeah. So then I started dancing with both of them. And this was before the pandemic really took effect. This was early in March. So that was the month where it was going to get bad. So we went, started having fun, dancing, all that stuff too. One of them took me. I can't go into deep detail on YouTube like I can in Instagram, so because of the guidelines. So I'm just gonna give you an idea that like she took me home to a friend's place. I slept with her friend, and then like a week later, I slept with the girl that I had the attachment with, and I was in a situation where I slept with both of them at the same time. I'm not trying to sound like I'm a horse. I'm just putting it out there, and let's just say it happened. This was like literally of that week that COVID-19 really started to get serious. Week later went by, and the thing was, the girl that I was really having the attachment with she's in healthcare, and she actually does what I believe she does what for MedWaiver. I don't think it's the company of MedWaiver, but I'm not gonna publicize anything what she does personally. But she did tell me that once this did take effect, she does have to take testing. So, and it was due to the fact that testing was becoming very difficult. So then, as we started getting to know each other, my mom kicked me out of the house because I went to go see her because she was in very high fear of knowing how this pandemic would be. She didn't want to take the risk of going who I went with. I initially met with my friends before I met with her just so I can give her that idea that it would have been okay. It didn't go out so well. So just also know before I continue, whenever you live in your parents' house, whether you're between a kid or an adult, you have that privilege if as an adult you can do whatever you want. But as that time goes by, like once you're in under another person's roof, you gotta abide by their rules. I did wrong on my part by going out to see her, even though she was under a mile away from where she was staying at for the night. So she was 7/10 of a mile. I went and go and see her, stayed for a bit, went back home. Mom told me next day couldn't stay. I'm like, okay. So I started my journey for 4 months, staying over at my dad's, knowing that those would be one of the last places. My mom was very upset. I'm not gonna point out anything that she says. It's solely based on between me and her. I'm not gonna go ahead and say all that because let's just say she was upset. So, and one of the only lines of communication that gave me that emotional comfort was the woman that I left my mom's house to go see for that one night. So let's just say, and I'll be honest with you, she was one of the most deflective. Like, she was ever emotional, send me texts and all that stuff too. We would have like 5-hour conversations on the phone. It was that long, and it didn't come to a point where I started to confess to about how I felt about her. And she was just like, I think I can make that work once the time is right. But she was also understanding. She was not obligated to do what I asked of her. She's a single woman, and she left a very abusive relationship to where, let's just say, she got beat up to where she was forced to have a miscarriage. And, and she has a kid. Like, I'm not going to go ahead into detail about that. There's only certain limited things I'm not going to go further into detail about, like I would on my Instagram videos, because it's different guidelines, so I got to respect that. So as I started to get to know her, let's just say that her decision-making in life, where yes, she was in a dark spot in her life, didn't really take a good toll on her life decisions. Like, she was still willing to want to go out through a pandemic. She wanted to go ahead and do all these things to where it's just like it didn't have a good impact on her, or even when her child starts to grow up, it doesn't make a good visual impact on her son. Being the fact that her son's gonna grow up knowing that you grew up in a pandemic and you were still trying to go out and have fun even through that. And if I was around the age of 18 knowing that I had a mother like that, knowing that she grew up through a pandemic, knowing that she was going through all that, I would have an issue, being that I have a mother like that, knowing that she's only looking out for herself instead of looking out for her family. She had a mother that was living with her, and she has a kid. What happens knowing that this pandemic was very new, even though now we know more about it, not saying it's not dangerous, it is. COVID-19 is a dangerous thing, but it doesn't make it any better knowing that you're in that situation being put, that you have a mother to take care of who's living with you and who's at an age that can probably suffer the symptoms of COVID-19 worse than you. So, and her son might get it too, but would he survive it? He would. But it's something you never want to put your family in because of your idea of having fun. Let's just say that, we met one time. We met during the time of during the pandemic, and it was one of those rare times. And I had to work. I was a Domino's delivery driver because of what COVID-19 did for my job and for my life. So I had to find ways to make it work. So I did that. As I managed to find time at Room Despair, there was only one time I got to meet her, and it was because I had to drop her off food, because she asked me for the favor. During that time we met, like, we spoke and all that. Like, we started to have we had like a nice little conversation, and she told me I was literally one of her only lines of communication, knowing that her ex was really trying to go after her, and she was just putting him on a mental block. As we met, we started to get passionate at that point. But then there was a sign where it was just like there was something I didn't feel comfortable about. And I'm not going to go ahead and point out why because of that situation, because it was a little bit too personal. So as I start making more videos, I'll start pointing more of that out. But as I started to see more of this, like as I started to get understand this, like she started to feel my aura to where it was just like it just didn't feel like right. You know, we made passionate love and all that stuff. To the next day, like next 2 days, she didn't even want to talk to me. But and I am gonna say this, like she did make a lot of arguments to where it was just like everything she said, even when she knew that she was wrong, she still wanted to put it in her mind that she was right and made it seem like, oh, that's how you make it seem, like you only saying it that way so that you can make yourself feel right. And like let's just say if you ever deal with one of those people where you feel like everything that he or she does is right or wrong, or like everything that he or she does is right, it doesn't make it better for that person anymore because of the surrounding group that he or she has, which is friends and family, cousins, etc. So let's just say it was very frustrating to get certain things through her mind to make her understand what she was doing, what she believed was right was wrong. Her son was always wondering where's, her ex-boyfriend and all that stuff too. He's just like, I'm just taking a break from her, let alone realizing that she broke up with him, let alone she took him out to a club because, and all that stuff too. It was, and then hanging around with him at the beach, and then she was like, and now I'm going to put him on, like, I'm not going to give him any of my distance. Like, you've already were supposed to not give him any of your distance. Like, what are you talking about? This man brutally beat you, made you lose your child, and you feel like you have any room to grow because of stuff like that? So then we had a phone conversation where it's like we almost went our separate paths to where it's like, and then she was like, and I'm gonna remind you, her job title is that she works with the disabled. She literally called me. Yes, me. She was saying, oh, I'm under the impression that you're autistic. Like I don't care what you say, you're autistic. I'm like, that doesn't sound very right. Like, what gives you any type of idea or any room to make you feel like that you're in any right to say that? Like, she was just very upset because she thought that I was manipulating her to make her make love to me, and like to make her make love to me. I'm like, look, you wanted to do that, and I'm not the one to take control of your actions. You are just as much of a grown person as I am. We are both adults. You have more of a mental capacity of knowing what's right and what's wrong, just as much as I do. So, at that point, like, she made that as an insult, and I kept it in the back of my mind since then, to where then after all the conversations we went through, it's just like, I'm going to remember that this woman called me autistic and called me /special, knowing that and note, I don't condone anything that she says. It's brutally wrong. So it's like, if you're trying to come up with an insult to say something, say to someone, knowing that they did something wrong, you don't, and I wasn't the one in wrong. I'm not going to point my rights or wrongs. I'm wrong when I know I did something wrong. But being what she did doesn't make anything right. Her saying that, being that she has that job title, doesn't make your situation any better. Because if I ever went to her boss and I said she called me autistic, so that means she used it as an insult with her tone of voice. Her boss would have taken huge offense to that, and she would have been fired on the spot. Clearly. Other people might say no, other people might say yes, but this is why I don't use her name in situations like this. Bottom line, weeks later, like, being the fact that we still had those conversations, like, she gave the idea where it's just like, like, she was dating someone else at the moment. And which I don't mind. We pointed, you and I are single. We're free to do all these things. We should always let each other know that if we are encountering a new idea of seeing someone, being the fact that we want to date them to potentially have a relationship, that's when you guys start to let the other person know that really liked you, such as myself. And she gave me that idea too, and she even made very clear vision of her actually liking me. So once that happened, like, we made that clear. She posted on her Snapchat, and I saw that she went out to a date with another guy. Then started to see constant snaps and all that stuff too. I told her, I'm happy that you're able to see someone, but why couldn't you tell me this earlier? She's like, oh, well, I'm not obligated to tell you all this stuff. I'm like, what do you mean? You showed me conversations of your previous boyfriends, and I never showed you that. You showed me pictures. You told me very personal thoughts that would bother you. So if you felt like you were obligated to tell you that, knowing that I didn't ask you that, why does it make you feel like you're not obligated to tell someone that you're dating someone? Like, everyone's going to find out that you're dating someone eventually down the line. So that doesn't make you right for saying I'm not obligated. She's like, but you gave me the idea. We both liked each other. And she's like, yeah, but you're my friend. I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. But friends tell each other these things. Friends don't show a personal conversation, then starts to get pretty, I don't want to say the word because of the guideline, then gets pretty more to that next level. It's the S word. Y'all can ask me what that is in my in the comments below, but I'm gonna probably blur it out. So at that point, let's just say that actually she told me some explicit. I think that's a better word. She told me some explicit things of what she wanted to do, what she and I wanted to do. No, I don't talk to her anymore after this because she was just like, BS drama is BS drama. I think I was making it a big deal because I made an additional post on my social media that if you're going through a situation where you're trying to derail from a current situation and you know that the other half of the person that you liked you back, it's always to let that person know what your current status is of what you're doing in your life. Not going further deep into detail in your personal life, but give me a basic idea on what you're doing to be able to better your decisions. And let's just say that she was in denial of anything that she did, when she know that she was wrong. She made herself believe that she was right. And I'm here to tell you, don't be a part of people like that. So, and then I put it in a Snapchat message to where I then texted to her because Snapchat, you can screenshot, but you can't save the conversation once you block them. So I screenshot and screen recorded the conversation, sent it over to her so that way she can get an idea of what I said to her about me going my separate path, because she says I'm not obligated to give you and tell you my personal life. I don't need to know your personal life. I just want you to tell me things to where it's like, let's say if I asked you on a date and you didn't tell me that you were dating someone and you said, oh, I'm dating someone, who's going to look dumb? Me. So that's where it went. And then she's like, I'll respond to you soon. I was telling her, like, is there something bothering you? She didn't text me for 1 or 2 weeks. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm done with this. Because we had a voice recording argument because she felt that I exposed her. I'll let you guys know. I don't use names on social media if I'm talking about a certain someone to save their privacy, for their protection. Because if I really wanted to, I would have done it a long time ago. And then people would have already sent bad remarks and bad statements about that person on her social media name and her actual personal name, and then go bust their job. And I'm not doing that. As much as I don't even like the person in situations like that. So then after that, she didn't even respond. And I didn't even block her number. So that just shows you her guilt. Since to this very day, I don't even talk with her. So I'm here to tell everyone that don't ever subject yourself in situations like that. Don't ever put yourself in situations to where when people call you special, which I'm not against, my younger brother is autistic. It's not an insult, but the way how she made it seem was an insult. And it looks bad on her job title. Like, if I was that type of person where I wanted to give out the name, unless if she committed a crime, I would do that. But this isn't the place for that. This is just for me to tell you, don't surround yourself with people like that. People like that are people where it's just like, you know that they're in the complete and total wrong. You know that people shouldn't be in that situation to where you don't want to go ahead and feel you have to really like that person, kiss ass for them, and knowing that everything that they do where they believe it's right, it's wrong. Like, stay away from people like that. And I got more content coming about people like that. But I love you all. Thank you all for watching and bearing with me through this lengthy video. I'm going to see you all later. Holler at me later. Yeah.